Embracing your shadows. I used to think healing meant becoming nothing but light. Being positive, being peaceful, being strong, being forgiving, being spiritually awakened, leaving the painful parts of myself behind. But the deeper I went into my own journey, the more I realized something. I cannot become whole by pretending my shadows don't exist. My shadows are the parts of myself I didn't always want to look at. The fear, the anger, the insecurity, the jealousy, the grief, the regret, the questions, the need for reassurance. The moments when I didn't understand myself. The parts of my story I wished had happened differently. The parts of myself I sometimes judged instead of understood. And I've learned that having these parts doesn't make me broken. It makes me human. For years, I thought I had to fight certain parts of myself. I thought if I could just become positive enough, spiritual enough, strong enough, healed enough, I wouldn't feel those things anymore. But healing hasn't meant becoming someone who never feels darkness. It has meant learning how to walk through it without becoming lost inside it. I've had to look at my own patterns. I've had to question my reactions. I've had to acknowledge where fear has influenced me. I've had to admit when I've been wrong. I've had to recognize where I was seeking answers outside myself because I was afraid to sit with uncertainty. I've had to look at the places where I was hurting and understand that sometimes pain can make us behave in ways that aren't really who we want to be. And that requires honesty. Not shame. Honesty. Because I don't believe we can transform something we refuse to acknowledge. My shadows have taught me things. Fear has taught me what I value. Grief has taught me how deeply I can love. Mistakes have taught me humility. Anger has sometimes shown me where a boundary was crossed. Uncertainty has taught me patience. Loneliness has taught me how important my relationship with myself is. Pain has forced me to ask questions I might never have asked otherwise. And the parts of myself I once wanted to hide have sometimes become the very places where my greatest growth began. That's why I'm learning not to ask, how do I get rid of this part of myself? Instead, I ask, what is this part of me trying to tell me? What is the fear protecting? What is the anger pointing toward? What is the sadness asking me to acknowledge? What does the insecurity need? What does the regret want me to learn? What does the wound need from me now? Those questions create a completely different relationship with myself. Instead of fighting myself, I listen. Instead of judging myself, I become curious. Instead of saying, what's wrong with me? I ask, what happened inside me that made me feel this way? That doesn't mean I excuse unhealthy behavior. It doesn't mean every reaction is justified. It doesn't mean I stay trapped in old patterns. Quite the opposite. When I understand myself, I have more power to choose differently. That's what embracing your shadows means to me. It isn't celebrating everything you've ever done. It isn't romanticizing pain. It isn't staying in darkness. It's turning toward the parts of yourself you've been afraid to see and saying, I'm willing to understand you. And perhaps the most important thing I've learned is that my shadows don't cancel out my light. They exist alongside it. I can be loving and angry, strong and vulnerable, spiritual and questioning, confident and afraid, healing and still hurting. Wise in some areas and still learning in others. Those things can coexist. I don't have to become perfectly healed to be worthy of love. I don't have to eliminate every shadow to become a good person. I don't have to pretend everything is beautiful to find beauty in my life. I simply have to become honest enough to see myself as I really am. The whole picture, the light, the darkness, the lessons, the mistakes, the growth, the becoming. So, how do I help myself remember? I journal about the things I don't want to think about. I sit quietly with uncomfortable emotions. I pray. I create. I ask myself difficult questions. I take responsibility when I need to. I forgive myself when forgiveness is possible. I seek understanding instead of immediately reaching for judgment. And when an old part of me surfaces, I try not to immediately push it away. I stop. I breathe. And I ask, what are you trying to show me? Because maybe the goal was never to destroy my shadows. Maybe the goal was to understand them well enough that they no longer have to run my life from the darkness. And maybe that's what becoming whole really means. Not becoming only light, but becoming brave enough to hold all of yourself with compassion. I've spent a lot of my life searching for who I am. And I'm beginning to realize that I am not only the beautiful parts. I am also the parts I'm still learning to love. The parts I'm still healing. The parts I'm still understanding. The parts that once scared me. The parts that survived. The parts that changed. The parts that are still becoming. And when I stop running from those parts, I don't become darker. I become more whole. What part of yourself have you spent years trying to hide that might actually be asking to be understood? Maybe your shadow isn't there to destroy your light. Maybe it's there to show you where your light is needed most.